Thanks for staying tuned. It's still iBrandTV, and now it's time to keep you abreast with the latest happenings in the world of sports. We'll definitely talk about UEFA Champions League because that's what happened yesterday night, and that's definitely what people are talking about at this time. We had the clash of the Titans between defending champions Chelsea and the most successful side in UEFA Champions League history, Real Madrid, in action yesterday night at the Stamford Bridge, and that's a match that Chelsea faithfuls, the Blues as they're known, will want to forget in a hurry. 3-1 that ended in favor of Real Madrid, and it was all about Karim Benzema scoring his 11th goal in this season's competition, just one strike behind Bayern Munich's Lewandowski in terms of the race for the highest goal scorer for this season's UEFA Champions League. 3-1 it ended, as I said earlier, and Karim Benzema scored all 3 goals for Real Madrid to ensure that the Galacticos, as they are known, have 1 foot into the semi-finals. For Chelsea Football Club, it seems their title defense is coming to an end, although you still have the return leg that will take place at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium next week, Tuesday, where they will be trying to overturn the 2-goal deficit that they have now. The beauty of this knockout stage is that there are no away goal rules for the UEFA Champions League. So it means if Chelsea is able to win by 2-0 at Santiago Bernabeu, the match will definitely go into extra time. But for Real Madrid, it was a great performance. Chelsea definitely will have some words to talk about in terms of their defending, especially with their goalkeeper, Edward Mendy, who has been so reliable but was definitely not in form yesterday, considering the error he made, the defensive lapse between he and the centre-back. Hopefully, they're able to get things together. So it's Real Madrid with the advantage, 2-goal advantage, it must be said. And Karim Benzema is definitely having a season to remember. Remember, he finished 4th in the Ballon d'Or standings last year, and this season is definitely in the running to become the best player in world football. Now, let's still talk about UEFA Champions League and delve into the second match we saw last night. It was Villarreal, the Spanish side, against Bayern Munich, the almighty Bayern Munich, and it was a shock upset for Bayern Munich as Villarreal strode to a 1-0 win, with Danjuma scoring the decisive goal in the 8th minute of that encounter to ensure that Unai Emery's men go into the second leg with a slim advantage, although Bayern Munich will be counting on Allianz Arena to be able to get back to winning ways when it comes to overturning the tie. Robert Lewandowski firing blanks. They had their chances. They just couldn't take it as they were profligate in front of goal. But you have to give kudos to Villarreal, who ensure that they stifled the defense line, or the attacking threats, rather, of Bayern Munich to be able to earn the victory. So you have the return leg taking place next week, Tuesday, as well. Let's see if Bayern Munich will be able to overturn the tie. But at this stage, it's Villarreal with the advantage, and they'll be open to complete another shock upset, considering they defeated Juventus in the round of 16. We'll wrap up sports discussions right about now with Erik ten Hag. That's the Ajax coach, who is set to be appointed by Manchester United on a permanent basis. Remember, he was interviewed last week by the Manchester United management, and we heard that discussions were fruitful as the top members of the board are favoring him over Mauricio Pochettino, who is currently in charge of Paris Saint-Germain in the French Ligue 1. So it's Erik ten Hag who is likely to succeed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on a permanent basis, and they would have the current interim manager, talking about Ralf Rangnick, as an advisor on the board, while he would also be able to bring in his own assistant. I'm sure in the coming days we would have clarity and an official announcement to that effect.
So no more Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
No, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked last November, but you know, it was the last permanent manager for Manchester United. So you had Ralf Rangnick coming on an interim basis, and he still has 2 years with Manchester United as an advisor. So I think it's about restructuring for United at this time. Definitely so many things are wrong administratively, even on the field.
Is it because they've been on a losing streak?
Well, the losing streak has its part to play. Do you also look at the decisions that have been made by the board over time, especially regarding transfers? It's nothing to write home about. So we have so many things to work out in terms of United to get back to that position. I'm sure the new manager would also come with his own kind of players. Paul Pogba is set to leave. The talks that Cristiano Ronaldo is also unhappy, at the club and wants to leave as well. There are other players that would also seek
So it's a
playing
total
time.
restructuring.
Total restructuring one matter.
And it's also not the best of times for Chelsea fans.
Chelsea fans, no, not what we saw yesterday.
You don't want to. You don't want to be a Chelsea fan at this time.
I feel for them. You have a goalkeeper the best goalkeeper in the world, really reliable. Edouard Mendy of Senegal. He won several trophies for us, for Chelsea Football Club and even Senegal. And committing that error, it happens once in a while, but it was just a disjointed.
And I heard a lot of analysis. You know how people who are not on the field can better analyze the people who are on the field.
Well, again, the thing is with footballers, especially the outfield players, they make mistakes a lot. Misplaced passes and rash tackles and all of that. But when a goalkeeper makes just one, it's oftentimes decisive because it's the last line of defense.
Yes, it's the gatekeeper.
A goalkeeper makes a mistake, it leads to a goal. But several times players will make misplaced passes, squander chances in front of goal and all of that. Those things do not even come into effect. Sometimes it could be a rash tackle or a sloppy back pass, a whole lot. I feel for him, for Mendy, but you have to understand that that's just a blip, really.
And life goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, time to delve into the social media world. And Perpetual Fasami Peters, looking gorgeous, is right
Thank
here.
you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be on the show with both of you.
Thank you
You
so
look
much.
radiant in this outfit. I like
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you on
so
our behalf.
oh, sure.
And because
So take us away. Let her take us away.
Radiant.
Oh.
No, it's all right.
I'm just jealous.
It's
Oh,
all
wow.
right. That's all right.
You look
That's sexism,
smashing.
That's sexism, but it's okay.
Wonderful morning to you and welcome to Social Media Buzz. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. But we're talking sports first. Super Eagles midfielder Kelechi Nwakali has accused Spanish side Huesca of intimidation, claiming the club terminated his contract for representing Nigeria at the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON. The player made a comment in a post on his Instagram handle hours after the La Liga side confirmed that his contract has been terminated even before it was due to expire in June. Nwakali, who lamented the ill treatment from the club, accused them of withholding his wages. Well, this is the story, and of course, Samson is here to tell us more about it.
Well, it's a sad one, and it stems from different angles. There's the place of racism in this, and I'll explain in a bit. There's also the place of clubs being selfish. Oftentimes, the joy or the great heights of a player's career is representing your country, either at a continental showpiece or at the global stage. That's the World
Even
Cup.
if you belong to another club.
Yes, I'm talking about your country now because you play for Manchester United, Chelsea, whatever it is. If you do not play at the participate at the World Cup, as a footballer, you are not fulfilled because that's the height, that's the global stage. You want to win honors with your country, represent.
Yes,
them
but was there a
that.
contract signed?
Now, oftentimes with everything, the FIFA rule states that players have to be released. In fact, the FIFA rule stipulates days, the number of days they have to be released in terms of deadline. So, for example, if there's a friendly match, you have probably like 3 days before the match itself. Players have to release and all of that for international duties. Because the player is not just committed to the club alone, the player is also committed to the country. Now,
so what exactly is this
now,
club
having
doing
said
all
that,
this?
you have instances wherein, for different reasons, the club and the country can, be in contact and come to a conclusion. Probably due to injury concerns that the player suffered, there could be a late, arrival to camp or whatever it is. Or if there's an important game, probably the deadline for resumption is today, maybe Friday. A club can plead with the nation that, oh, you know what, we have a very big match on Saturday. It's a title decider. Maybe Man U, Liverpool. Oh, please let him play immediately. We send a jet to, down.
But that's between the country and the club.
All of those agreements are in place. Now, for the Nations Cup, you had Arsenal legend, Ian Wright, talk about the coverage the Nations Cup had.
Samson, can you wrap this up quickly? It's already sounding like like another sports segment.
I'm trying to wrap it up now. Before the Nations Cup, commenced this year, Ian Wright talked about the kind of coverage the Nations Cup had and how people were racially discriminating it because they didn't see it as a big trophy.
Exactly, that's what the club said. The club said
That's
it's
where
not
I'm going
a
to. I
recognized
deliberately
tournament.
gave this background
Okay, before getting to the main
information.
conversation.
You had
right.
Liverpool's manager also being in the heat, saying that it was a little tournament. So it's the mindset that the Nations Cup is.
But are they missing out something that this is actually in preparation for the World Cup, which is in little?
Now, that's the way they see it. Most clubs see that it's little, you don't need to go for it. And it's not just Kelechi Nwakali. You had Dennis Emmanuel for Watford, who couldn't, link up with the club. The player said he wanted to go. The club, you had all of those back and forth. Sometimes clubs would withhold players for different reasons. They can give excuses of injuries and what have you. And player will contradict that, saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm healthy, nothing is wrong. Now, this is happening again, and it's shameful. You can see Nwakali's excuse that they said it was a little tournament. So now that he had defied the club and had represented Nigeria...
But is it good to defy the club?
They
could have reached an agreement before.
But
if the club is not willing, again, as I said, it's the player's dream. For players who have played at the national team for several years and probably have won laurels, they can easily feel like, oh, okay, I can, ignore this one and just continue. But if a player has not even had the honor of donning the national team jersey before and gets a call-up, the player would definitely prioritize.
But I'm all for procedures and processes.
Exactly. I totally
Is there a contract like that says, okay, you cannot play for your country?
That wouldn't be any because it's against FIFA.
Not here. Now, the only time we've heard of that was during the Odion Igalo saga with his former club Al Shabab, where there were talks that he wouldn't play for his country. But by then, Igalo had retired.
So it means that in this particular situation he can fight the club and win the whole case. And so it means that it's easy.
But why should he be punished? Why should his contract be terminated and all of that just because of this? Now they will tell you he probably defied misconduct. That's the way they put it. Professional misconduct and all of that. Again, it's just the way clubs respond. But
you also mentioned the fact that there are some undertones of racism in all of this.
Apparently, as I said, even before the tournament, you had Arsenal legend talk about it. You had Jurgen Klopp get under under the heat for his tag of, oh, there's a little tournament taking place in Africa and all of that. It's the way they see it. Now they see their Euros as a big deal, but they don't want to see AFCON as a big deal. Meanwhile, the both events are on the same part. They're both continental showpieces.
Anyway, let's see what Nigerians are saying. Thank you so much for that, the sportsman. Okay, very quickly, let's see what Nigerians are saying. Okay, this is coming from Lukosoni. At Lukosoni says, tagging the whole world anyway, at the NFF, at FIFA_ES, at UEFA, please look into this matter urgently. Huesca are trying to intimidate a Nigerian player into some shady contract that is against FIFA fair play. From this story, Huesca are trying to make him a slave in this common era. Please look into this. And then we also have at Yusuf Aziz 10 saying, Huesca, in case you wish to underrate what Nigerians can wish for your team, kindly find out from Watford FC when they refused to release Emmanuel Dennis for the AFCON competition. I'm sure you don't want to be relegated to the 3rd Spanish division. This is no joke. You're laughing like you want to say something about that.
Well, that was the case I talked about earlier. To, okay. That was a Nigerian, but it's not only the Nigerian. You also had Ismail Assar, who plays for Watford as well, who Watford didn't release him to Senegal on time. All of these things happen, really. I'll
take one more comment, and then there's a rebuttal from the club.
Exactly.
Okay, this is coming from our Truth and Trouble, saying Huesca saying AFCON is not an important tournament. Does Huesca have any importance to football? Answer that question.
It's a small club in Spain.
Anyway, all right, so let's see what the club is saying. The club, of course, has reacted to this particular statement, and they will definitely say it's not true. On the statements made by Kelechi Nwakali earlier today after premature termination of the contract that bound him and SD Huesca, the club wishes to express its total repudiation given their complete lack of veracity. All of this is done in the conviction that the club has acted at all times with the utmost respect for the player. Nevertheless, in view of the seriousness of certain statements referred to in his notice, this club reserves for itself the right to take the appropriate legal action to defend its right to protect their legitimate interest. Well, as expected, some Nigerians have also responded to the club's rebuttal of Nwakali's claim. And this is what Nigerians are saying to the club. They're saying, if you people refuse to make necessary adjustment, this is at Adeniyi Provost. At Adeniyi Provost says, if you people refuse to make necessary adjustment concerning your unfair treatment of our own Nwakali, I just want you to know that this is the beginning of the very end of the club. Can we do that? We shall go both physical and spiritual on the club. The outcome shall not be palatable with the club. And finally, for the story, we have at Timonium 17 saying, first time hearing about your club, and it's because you all refuse to pay a player his due wage. Must be tough being bottom tier, innit? Well, that's an interesting one.
It's just what it is. There's really nothing to say. It's not just Nigerian players. You had different African players involved, wherein clubs refused to release them for the African Cup of Nations, which took place about 2 months ago. So it's
largely racism.
It's yes, from that angle. And as I said, it's something that different football pundits have also, you know, alluded to, that it has a bit of racial undertones to it. I hope that there will be resolutions to it. The club refuted. I hope
so too, yes.
But they did not
they actually didn't address issues. They didn't address issues.
It was just general.
It was just
yes,
you know,
it was.
Often, when you deny such allegations,
I mean, you
now stated that, okay,
exactly.
his contract was terminated for maybe unprofessional conduct, lateness to training, you know, you spell it out.
They couldn't even spell out anything. Well, let's move on to the second story. This is a sad one. A Nigerian family seeking justice as white lady Courtney Taylor allegedly stabbed her 27-year-old Nigerian boyfriend, Christian Toby, to death in the U.S. The unfortunate incident occurred on Sunday, April 3rd, in an apartment they shared in Miami, USA. He was pronounced dead in a local hospital where he was rushed to. And then we have screenshots of the cousin's outburst, beg your pardon, on Instagram. We have this first one. Her name is, well, her Instagram handle is wabik_. And she says, "Thank you to everyone who reached out. It is sincerely appreciated. I will respond in time. A lot is going on. In the past 36 hours, I have served as legal counsel to my family while speaking to attorneys and detectives. My family is looking for guidance. Everyone thinks of me as strong and capable, but no one is strong enough for this. Please accept my humanity. This is a lot to handle." And then she talked about how that it's a nightmare to her aunt and uncle. And then she said something, "Nothing the detectives say makes sense. My cousin was murdered, yet there are no charges. The City of Miami Police Department and State's Attorney Office are ready to discard yet another black man to protect a very privileged white woman." And that's the story we have. You're talking about the fact that they feel that the police and everyone who is supposed to, you know, be at the forefront of ensuring that the family gets justice are the ones who are probably somehow not letting them get justice. Yes.
It's a sad one indeed.
It's sad. Criminal justice system, and the need to reform it, the need for it to be free and fair. We know quite well that's that's been one of the challenges of the United States over the years, trying to ensure that justice is free and fair to all, regardless of color.
Yes.
Again, this is just, you know, a case like that. If the police, Miami police, are saying that there's really no call for concern in terms of be it a murder case or what have you.
But could it be because it's a black man?
Exactly.
Are we seeing another George Floyd case?
There would always be those, you know, arguments and all. I think there should be a thorough investigation, and hopefully the criminal justice system this time around really stands up for its name.
You want to say something?
And may his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Exactly.
All right, very quickly, we'll just take some of the comments we have. This particular one is from Abductor_Neki saying, "Very sad. My African dude's Oyibo babe is not better." And then we have Midday_Fresh. "Upload her pictures so innocent men can stay away from her." All right, this is another one. Queen_Deb saying, "Avoid toxic relationship by all means. This is so sad." And then HRH_E.R says, "I pray she doesn't get away with this." Official Bobby Frederick says, "Toxic relationships should be added to the list of natural disasters. May none of us be a victim of one. Amen." And then we have Christy Boy saying, "Waiting they pay me be say nothing will happen to the lady." Well, that's something that nobody wants to happen. We just hope that, you know, the law takes its due course and justice is meted out definitely.
Yes.
Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up this conversation. Toxic relationships, if you're in one, please, it's time for you to get out of it, because you never can tell where that toxicity will
because there
lead
may
you
be
to.
signs. There may have been signs.
There are signs,
before
definitely. There will be signs.
Took that
there definitely
action.
will be signs. For someone to be able to stab someone, that means there are other things this person has been able to do or this person has been doing, which you probably have been ignoring.
Yeah.
Well, many thanks for joining me on this segment. I am Perpetua Fason Repeater.
All right, thank you, Perpetua. Time to wrap it up with the quote of the day. And that is, "The first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself." And that is according to McCain. Well, I think this largely speaks to not letting your background put your back to the ground.
Exactly.
So you know how they
wisdom.
you know how they say that do not let Nigeria happen to you. Looking at the kind of situation we find ourselves, terrorism, unemployment, and all of that, do not let all of that limit you.
It's just rising above your circumstances.
Actually, that's a perfect way to leave it. Well, that's where we'll leave it today. Thank you so much for being a part of iBrand Daybreak. My name is Omobolanle Adeshui. Have a fantastic day.
And I'm Samson Olady. Do have a great day.